Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday morning. We're streaming live in the US. I am in Texas. Anna is in New York, and Kay is in Maryland. Good morning, everyone. We missed you so much. This is our Sunday morning routine now. This is our episode 5. And today we're going to talk about contracts and job offers. Good morning, everyone. We are monitoring the comment section, so please use the comment section to interact with your hosts today. So please use the comment section and tell us where you guys are coming from. Good morning, Anna and Kay.
Good morning, Paul. Good morning, Anna. Good morning,
Hello,
everyone.
everyone. Love your hair, Clay.
I just
Nice,
woke
Kay,
up. I just
nice.
woke up like this.
Love that, love that. Sir Ferdy, Dr. Ferdy is joining us today from Florida. Good morning, Dr. Ferdy. Thank you for joining us today. And of course, we
Hello.
already Yep, we already have 60 viewers so far, Anna and Kay. And please for our audience, can you please guys do us a favor and share this to your page so we
Mm-hmm.
can reach out to more nurses and to more our friends that want to immigrate to the US. This is DNP Unlocked. This is an immigrant talk show by immigrant
Mm-hmm.
nurses, right, Anna and Kay?
Yeah.
Absolutely. We don't usually wake up like this. But
I think this is yeah,
Care about you guys. We really do.
right, right. I think this is the earliest I've waken up in the past, and I'm not late today. Thank you. So I'm like, Anna, do you think I can do the opening remarks this time since I'm not late? But
And
Anna has
when
always
they saw that, I was like, yeah, oh yeah.
because Anna has been stressed the past 2 weeks. Last week, me and Kay were late. Kay was 30 minutes late, so better late than later,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. My mic was like my camera, my mic. I was like,
Right.
somebody just hacked my computer.
Right.
It's
And
just like
I can remember Anna sending direct message and she's already live. Where are you guys? Come in.
I know.
and
I
my
know.
com-
Yesterday was a mess. I mean, last week
yeah,
was a
my computer was acting up too. But guys, tell me if our audio is clear and you can hear us. Um I'm using my microphone, so I don't know if it's working. Sometimes it doesn't work. And I know I can hear Kay and Anna clearly. So hopefully
Mm-hmm.
there's no feedback today. And we have a lot of viewers. Anna, you want to acknowledge our viewers?
Oh my God, this is very interesting. Yeah, I see a lot of people coming in and sharing our thought for today. Hello from Manila, Philippines. Surigao, Saudi. Hello all. Say your name. Panda, please keep sharing. Today will be a very meaningful day for all of you guys. It's one of the
Right,
most
right,
hot topics. I
right.
received a lot of messages last night all in play, so we better
We
start
gotta
this.
talk about them today. I hope they're joining so we can flash their questions actually.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm still sharing it to my social media pages. So I'm not that early. I'm still a little late. But well, thank you, Kay and Anna. Like I said, I'm always thankful about Anna and Kay for devoting their time. DMP Unlocked. This is a free show. I'm not paying Kay and Anna to go to this show. I'm the producer of the show. My team is the producer, but without Anna and Kay, this show would not come to life. But thankfully, I have Anna and Kay, and we've been trying to think, to invite viewers. But honestly, I mean, invite guest speakers. But honestly, we still have so much to share. I thought about it before. I keep inviting speakers, but I'm not inviting people that have actually lived the American dream. And that's what the DNP Unlocked is about. After all, it's disruptive nursing perspective
Mm-hmm.
in the perspective of an immigrant nurse. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about so many exciting things. Anna and Kay and myself have prepared wealth of information that we can share today. So guys, please keep sharing. We have reached 100 viewers. Anna has her notepad, the traditional pen and paper. I have my notepad on my big computer here, and it's the Apple notepad. I couldn't see it now, but I also have it on my phone. And yep, and I'm pretty sure Kay has her notes too. But Yep. Anyway, we
No,
have
It's the
Kay,
wall. It's the
everything
nose.
on
Yeah,
the mind.
it's the wall. My nose is
It's
the
the
wall.
wall.
right. And anyway, we have viewers from the Philippines, a lot of them actually, even Zay, Vanessa, of course, Ferdy, Car. There's one watching from our LinkedIn K. His name is Paul and is watching from Saudi. Durf is from Philippines, Paula. We have Fauji watching from Australia, and Brian Lithuania is watching us from
Oh, wow.
Canada. Wow. We don't have people from Europe. Good morning, trio from Sir Jerry. Sir
Hi,
Jerry,
Gary.
hopefully we can bring you in soon to talk about our nursing, perioperative nursing, along with Kay.
Yes.
And
We're gonna
hi,
change
Sir
this
Jerry.
show's name into OR
Oh,
Nursing, not
Right.
OR
I,
Unlocked.
I'm the
we
odd man out.
outnumbered.
Right.
Oh, we outnumbered ER.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
anyway, I'll take this time to greet all my ER nurses. I know it's past the ER nursing week because it's Sunday. It started last Sunday. I forgot. Happy ER nurses week to all my
Yeah.
ER folks. I miss coming back to the ER to stick all the patients. I'm just kidding. I love the chaos. But happy ER nurses to everyone. We have people from KSA, Saudi Arabia, and more people from the Philippines. We have now breached 150 viewers, and we're just 7 minutes into the show. Woohoo!
I want to
Guys,
back
please.
out now.
No, you're the host. All right, guys, please keep sharing the show and tag your friends in the comment section. We are going to read your comments in a little bit, so please stay with us. This is going to be an hour full of fun stuff. We're going to talk about contracts and job offers. So, welcome everybody. And for today, we have a disclaimer at the bottom that this is
Mhm.
not in. This is intended solely to provide general information. Myself, Kay, and Anna are not immigrant lawyers. We do not work for a government. We do have certain philanthropic works as far as volunteering our time to organizations like the Facebook organization Lefora. It's not a registered organization, but I work for Sienna as a board of director, and Kay also works for CGF and his Alliance as a board of director. But any of our comments today are expressed as an opinion in the perspective of an immigrant nurse. This is not considered a law, a rule, a statute. This is not definite. We encourage everybody to work with your lawyers or immigrant lawyers for legal issues. Okay. So just to be clear, we're putting out the disclaimer out there. Because Kay, somebody might ask us, so what's your credentials? Well,
Well, my
what do we say,
credential
Kay?
is
What's your credential to do this show?
my credential is I'm the one who's signing. The most important
Exactly.
one. That contract will not
Exactly.
move forward without
Ex-
my signature. So I am the
exactly.
most important part of that contract too.
Thank you. That's what I'd say too. I'd be saying, well, my only credential, perhaps not important for you, but I'm the nurse
Yeah.
that
I'm
will
gonna
be
be the
doing
one
the
who's
job,
working.
that you will be
Yep.
getting to the US, that you'll be earning probably money for. So
Mhm.
yes, I'm the most important piece of the puzzle. That's the truth, nurses. So always remember that in job contracts and negotiations, you are the most important piece of the puzzle. Because guess what? If you don't accept that job, they're gonna spend more time to find another one to interview. So by them interviewing you and hiring you on the spot, actually gives them like leverage in sense of they're not wasting any more time because they already hired you, something like that. So remember that recruitment is an expensive cost for
Mhm.
businesses, all right? Looking for people to fill up spots. So you are the most important piece of the puzzle. Always remember your worth. And we're gonna talk about that today. We're gonna start with any comments so far, Kay and Anna.
No, go ahead, Paul. Yeah, just
Yeah, I want to start it. I want to do more time with Kay's topic later. I received a lot of messages
Yep.
ever since we posted about this. Everyone is so excited and waiting for this time because they're very anxious before they sign the paper. They want to know what
Right,
they're
right,
signing up for. I'm
right.
excited
And
for this.
yep, Anna, I just want to flash this message. Is this recorded? Definitely. You can watch
Yeah.
this later in our Facebook
Mm-hmm.
pages. And it's also streaming in my YouTube and LinkedIn in case LinkedIn,
Yeah.
and Facebook public page. Yeah, we need to petition Miss Anna to have her own public profile. We have a private profile for families, of course, but we also have public profiles for everyone else. But
Not yet.
anyway, not yet, getting there. But thank you guys. Honestly, I would like to take the time before we start to thank everybody who's supporting the DNP Unlocked. All right. Me and Kay and Anna are always in a group chat talking about so many issues in immigrant nursing. But we felt like the information stays between the three of us. Why not set up a show where we can
Mm-hmm.
actually share
Mm-hmm.
and talk about it so we can inform the community. You know, it's all about, like Kay would always emphasize, it's all about educating the community. Yes, we're not
Mm-hmm.
lawyers. Yes, we're not immigrant lawyers. Yes, we're not senators that can create a law that will protect all immigrant nurses. But by doing this show, we are able to reach one nurse at a time. So thank you for
Mm-hmm.
supporting us. Thank you for always coming in with us every Sunday morning in the US, or Sunday evening, wherever part of the world you are, or Sunday afternoon in Europe and Middle East. But thank you for making this your Sunday routine. Thank you for giving up time to watch DNP Unlocked. And we appreciate you guys for joining us every Sunday. So we hope you'll support future shows. We're ramping up our shows for November and December. So you're gonna hear the announcement soon. But our first topic for today will be talked about by Anna, and it's all about the basics of job
Mm-hmm.
offers and contracts. So Anna will talk about that.
Okay. Thank you all, and okay, so here we are, nurses. I would like to ask you to get your pens or notebooks or notepad. I want you to take notes, okay? This is most important thing. After you interview with a lot of agency. Finally, you receive a job offer. And then comes a contract, and you're confused. Which one is which? Job offer or contract? So the difference between the two are this. Job offer is the preliminary communication from an employer expressing their interest in hiring you. It outlines key details like the position available, the location, the salary, and the benefits also. Typically presented before the formal contract. It's not the contract yet to assess your interest and willingness to join the organization. I would like to share my experience. 10 years ago, I was given a job offer of a certain nursing home, but the informations were limited, what I mentioned. And then when I said I researched the area, it's in New York, I researched the cost of living, the crime rates, the accessibility because I was not driving then before, the wages, and then I signed the contract that they offer. So now the difference with the contract, the contract is longer. It's like 10 different pages. That's what I received. And it's a legally binding agreement. I would like to emphasize on that. Legally binding agreement between you and the employer that specifies the terms and conditions of your employment in details. Like every letter and paragraph sentences on that paper that you're about to sign is legal and binding between you and the employer, and you are agreeing whatever is stated in that contract. Okay? And like what I said, it's longer. So what are the things that you have to look for included in the contract? Number one, of course, salary. What are they offering? The rate per hour, the holiday pay. The holiday pay is their overtime pay. Now, the salary, a lot of people are asking about this. Is $24 enough in California or New York? It depends. It varies by state. Remember, USA is consists of each state. New York has different pay than Texas, than Alabama, than Maryland. So it really depends. And the benefits, you must not forget about the benefits. The PTO, or this is what we call leave vacation. Are they offering PTO? And they have a certain computation on that. And again, it really varies, depends on states. are they offering retirement, the 401 or 403? During my time, they were offering 401, and I regret that I did not take it. So don't be like me, take the benefits. It's a free money on the table. Now the working hours. How many hours are you going to work every week? Is it 8 weeks? 8 hours, 12 hours on 10 hours. If you are going to work 8 hours in a week, it will be 40 hours in a week. Okay. 5 days, like 7 to 3, or 3 to 7, or 11 to 7, or 12 hours, like 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., or 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. It must be stated in the contract, okay? Do not just say, well, they never said anything about the hours. No. Now, sometimes in a contract, it's not stated because it depends on the need, the facility that you are going to work with. But always ask your employer to put it on the contract to protect yourself in the future. Okay, nurses? Now your responsibility as a nurse to the company that you're about to sign for. It's NCLEX. You must pass your NCLEX. You must have your visa screen. You must have your English test. And we must have your medical examination in St. Luke if you're from the Philippines. Now, contract length, very famous part of the contract. How many years are you going to work? How many hours are you going to work? Is the overtime counted for? From my experience, my contract was 3 years, 5,100 hours. But I was able to finish my contract in a span of 1.5 years. I worked a lot before, like 60 hours in a week. And then I reminded my employer, hey, according to my contract, I'm only supposed to work this X amount of hours. They consider or they accepted my overtime towards the hours. I was able to finish that. Now, the visa sponsorship. What kind of visa are they offering to you? Is it H-1B or work visa or employment based? Now, for us nurses, I suggest, I advise for you to get the green card or the immigrant visa EB3. So if you have a family, you can bring them along with you. Now, the housing relocation assistance. When I arrive in New York, I have no family, I have no friends here. So always take a note of that. Are you going to provide a housing or relocation assistance for me? Like how many months are you going to pay for the apartment? And how many rooms? Ask all of that details. Look into that details. Especially if you have a family. You cannot live in one house with 3 families. So next, orientation and training. Now remember, we are a foreign educated IEN. We initially school from the Philippines, and if we are going to work here, it's a whole new world. So ask them, how many months are we going to have the orientation? Like how many days, how many hours, and if there's going to be a classroom orientation and a shadowing or orientation when you are going to work with another nurse to shadow, how long will it take? Now be honest. If you are not like me, I'm an hour nurse from the Philippines, 12 years. When I arrived here, they put me in a nursing home for the babies, and I've been very honest with them. And I even asked for an interview to my to the director of the nursing home. Listen, I'm an hour nurse. I never worked in floors. Please give me X amount of month for my orientation. Do not say, okay, I'll just do whatever you want as long as I can go to America. Please, no. Okay, number 9, job description and nurse responsibility in a facility or in a hospital that you're going to do. What am I gonna do? Like, am I an OR nurse? Am I in a nursing home? Am I gonna work in a hospital, ER, OR, or ICU nurse? It must be in a contract. Now, number 10, very famous quote, termination clause. Know the condition, the terms under which your employment can be terminated you and the notice period. What are the terms that they can terminate me and how long or how many days or months that they're gonna let me know that they are terminating me. No, there should be no surprise. Hey Anna, here's your letter, you're terminated. What? No, there must be a term on that contract that's stating we're giving you a week, we're giving you a month, but we are terminating you. And why are they terminating you? Number 11, breach of contract. Another famous a word to look into your contract. Now, remember, like what I said earlier, contract is a law binding. When you sign it, they will notarize it. So it's legal, it's binding. Whatever you sign and whatever it's in that contract, it means you agreed upon. No one forced you, no one put a gun in your head. Sign this, Anna. You agreed. So even on the breach of contract, you also agreed on the amount, on the terms on that contract. Okay, so with my experience in my contract, there are terms. If you arrive before US, you're gonna pay this X amount. If you arrive after the US, if you arrive in the middle, or if you breach or terminated, so there are terms. I'm not gonna talk about the amount. It varies, but are they legal? Yes, because it's in the contract. Are they ethical and accepted? No. Okay, so that's the breach of contract. Number 13, the confidentiality and non-disclosure. In every contract, there's always a portion of that because, of course, the company wants to protect their secret trade. I'm not gonna let anyone know how I run my business. So, but if you're asking for the help of the lawyer, it's okay. It's you're not gonna be in trouble if you're gonna show your contract because you're asking for advice. But if you're gonna show it with other people and whoever else, then you're gonna have a problem with that. I hope everything's clear between the differences of job offer and contract and what are there supposed to be in the contract to look for. Now, I have some reminders for all of you guys who are planning to go to the US and applying and agency shopping and hopping. We're gonna this agency job offer nowadays. They don't have job offers from the agency that I heard. They like put it in the same place, job offer and contract. So what are the reminders from me? First, read it carefully. If you have to print the different pages, print it. Gotta highlight it. Read it from the start to the end. Do not skip. Break it down. If you cannot comprehend in one sitting, in one reading, break it down. What are the terms? How much is the salary? What is the location of the place? What are the breach contract? Especially the housing and location. Okay, because reading the contract, we're not lawyers. We are nurses. This can be overwhelming. Okay, guys, break it down, read it carefully. Then use dictionary. So somehow you can have an idea what the word is. Like nowadays, there's social media. You have YouTube, you have DrNursePaul, we have DNP Unlocked, we have Instagram. There are so many resources. You have to spare a time to learn. You must be advocating yourself, okay? Note the important terms. What is breach? What is prorated? What is non-disclosure? Ask questions. If you can afford it, please spare an amount of money or ask for a lawyer or an immigration lawyer or labor lawyer for your peace of mind. Because the moment you sign the contract, you're gonna be in trouble or you're gonna lose all your American dream in your head. Like, oh my God, what did I sign it for? And kind of information like this, DNP every Sunday, it's free. You're gonna need to pay for us. Make copies. You see, I know a lot of people have tablet now, cell phone, but still I use paper and notebooks because the more I write it, the more I remember it, and the more I understand it. And I still have a filing cabinet in my house. I want to make copies because you never know. And then I scan it and save it in a Google Drive. You can never go wrong with that. Then trust your instinct. If you feel like the offer, the contract is too good to be true, free this, bonus this, well, there's no free in the world except your mom's love for you. Okay? And then compare offers from agency A, B, C. Do not be excited. I know you're excited, but the moment you sign the contract, it will create more problems for you in the future. Compare. It's like shopping a cell phone or shopping a bag. You're just not gonna get this kind of brand. You have to know the benefits in your part, the pros and cons, especially the amount that you're about to pay if you're gonna break the contract. Okay? And I just want to remind, I got this a lot, Kay and Paul. When is the employment start? So remember, effective date and employment start is different, very different. The moment you sign the contract, that contract will be notarized when it's effective. Now, the employment will start when you arrive in the US and you start to work. So you have to clarify that with your company, with your agency have an immigration lawyer. When I was applying for my US, I sent an email over almost every week. Almost every week. I wrote down all my questions and I saved all the replies. I don't want to call them. I want it to be black and white. So if ever something happens, listen, in your email, you answer this. Talk is cheap, okay? It must be in the writing. And please, nurses, before you accept any contract, any job offer, do a little research. Do your homework. Do I really want to work in New York? Do I really want to work in California or in Alabama or in Texas? Advocate yourself first before you advocate your patient for your family, and you can create the future you want if you will invest time to learn. Right, Clay and Paul? Do you have anything to share that I
Right,
missed?
right. Wow, wow. That was plenty. No, that's actually good. I would ask my social media team to cut that out and post that in my social media. That's pretty good. Um, to be honest with you, I learned a lot as well. Like I feel like if I am the one applying for a contract today, I learned so much already, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna take notes of all of those because those are really, really vital information coming from an immigrant nurse herself, Miss Anna, and all of what Anna shared is also what I did, and also what Kay did. Right, great minds think alike. No,
I
but
want
yeah,
to add something with Anna when she
Mm-hmm.
said,
yeah.
when is the start of the contract, right? When is the
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
start? So we have received a lot of feedback regarding nurses arriving here that they are being trained like about a month after arrival in
Mm.
US, and it does not count against their contract, right?
Oh.
So
Right.
those are actually considered and should be already ethically
Mm-hmm.
should be counted in the contract when you arrive here, because that's part of your job, that's
Yeah.
part of the job, to train you. Orientation is part of this job offer. Also make sure that you are paid
Yes.
during those
Mm-hmm.
orientation, you know, because there
Mhm.
is a thing called FLSA, which means Fair Labor Standard Act. Okay, so guys, write this down, literally
Yeah.
write it down. F as in Frank, L as in Lydia, S as in Sam,
S
A as
and
in
A.
Andy or Andrew,
Right.
because a lot of nurses don't know about this, and they are being oriented or trained that they're not being paid. If I'm gonna tell you right now, go to Google. No, later after the show, right? Later after the show, you type there nurse FLSA lawsuit. You will see a lot of these employers not paying and they're getting sued. So please pay attention to that because that is very important. So Glenn said Fair Labor Standard Act. Okay. Again,
Right.
FLSA. If you have questions with that, please contact your Department of Labor, US Department of Labor, or you can get your lawyer to explain that to you as well. Okay.
Right. If you're still outside the US and you're in the job contract part, seek a lawyer, an immigrant lawyer. If you're in the US, you are already here, there are more protections for you. One,
Mm-hmm.
contact your state representatives. they might be able to help you. State representatives, every district in the US has a congressperson, congressman, congresswoman. They can help you. They have a lot of resources provided for them to help you. Find your state lawyers or esquires. They usually give you a pro bono lawyer. And there are different types of lawyer. If it's relating to your job contract and you're already here in the US, employment lawyer would be your best bet. Or contact your what you call this, the state labor
Yeah,
Department
U.S.
of Labor.
Department of Labor.
Yep.
Yeah, usually this
Mhm.
is pushed by U.S. Department of
Right.
Labor, and it's a free
Always
service.
search. Yes, always search. You know, every state and city, they have open what's this comment section or whatever where you can file a complaint. All
Yep.
these state agencies and city agencies, they have that ability where you can file a complaint to certain organizations or people. And trust me on this, they will launch an investigation. So
Definitely.
contact your labor department if it's something about safety at work where you feel like the roof is gonna fall on you or you see, that's OSHA, and OSHA is federal.
Yep.
You can contact OSHA. You can contact Medicare. Okay, we haven't even touched Medicare. You
Oh
can
my God,
contact
yeah.
Medicare and report your board. You can contact Joint Commission. It's not like you're a snitch, right? But you're reporting a valid concern that affects your ability to perform your job. Remember, as a nurse, we have to be provided with an environment where we can work safely, and that's both physical environment and psychological environment. How can you take care of your patients if one of your coworker is harassing you, bullying you, is
Mhm.
being racist to you, sexually assaulting you, or whether they touch you or not? So these are things that you guys need to know when you are in the US. There are many protections that are geared toward you. So do not be afraid to speak up. Do not be afraid to look for avenues to get help, because the only person that will decide where you if you will be getting that help is yourself. Nobody can intervene.
Mhm.
We can only tell you get help. We can only tell you do this, but we cannot act for you because it's
Mhm.
always self-determination, which means if you need to file a case, you have to file the case. We cannot file the case for you, or we cannot call the lawyer for you because you have to do it yourself. But please get that um, into your system that here in the US, there are avenues to get help. And there are many resources. That's what the DNP Unlocked is all about. It's all about informing you that there are many resources. But by the way, guys, we have reached 200 viewers. So my God. Thank you. Thank you, Anna, and thank you, Kay. And Kay will talk about red flags later. So please tune in. We're about to get to the climax. But
Okay, so let me read her Ferdinand. Okay,
yeah.
so the reason why I'm so into this topic today, aside from all the messages that I receive, na ma'am, kami, kami ko another company, even if I sign this contract, no. Like, whatever my emphasize, it's legal and binding. Okay, so it's not just, oh, I don't like this anymore, they have more money, I'm gonna transfer them. That's why we encourage you to do your research. And as a professional, if you're not gonna continue with a certain company, please, like what Dr. Ferdinand level, we're all professional, inform them in writing, you're professional, you wanna come in the US, be honest, be frank, listen, this is not, I realize this is not for me, I am not gonna
Yes.
continue pursue my dream with you, be
Yeah.
professional. It will not go away. No
Yeah.
one will
And
take care of this but you. And with one person also messaged me, I want to report this company, but I'm scared. We have a policy for non-retaliation. You will not be terminated
it's a
if you
federal
report
rule,
them.
I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You are
It offers
protected
protection
here.
for whistleblowers.
Mm-hmm.
Whistleblowers protection, that's a federal rule. So if you
Mm-hmm.
report your organization to Medicare, I'm gonna cheer for you because thank you for
Yeah,
doing that, because you're saving more nurses and other healthcare providers and patients when you do that. All right. I
yeah.
haven't been able to do that. I'm lucky to have worked with directors in the ER that actually listen to nurses, and whenever I flag those issues that I feel like are unsafe for me, they do something about it. But I like to document, guys. I mean, when I used to work in the ER, and ER is a crazy place. I'm not saying we are the only crazy place. Each place has its own thing. But you
Craziness.
know, in the ER, you can get stabbed while you're not looking at a patient, something like that, because they don't search patients and all that. So I have to file a lot of incident reports where patients have knives in their pockets while we were assessing the patient in the room and they were not searched thoroughly, something like that. But whenever I write incident reports, my friends are like, "Are you writing a book?" Because they can see me typing like super fast, and I'm already like on my fifth paragraph detailing everything, because more detail for me is more protection for me. If something were to happen, I reported. That's always part of my note. I am documenting this as a report. If this were to happen again, um, please know that I reported. One time, one of the people I'm talking to, it's an organization, it's a travel agency, was not doing something. So on my third email, I said, if something were to happen, let me tell you that the liability is on you because I reported this safety issue. So this is my document. This is getting printed for my file, but I reported. So I escalated a situation, something like that. But please exercise your right. There are avenues to help you. Don't be scared. I know some of us are like, nah, I'm an immigrant. They're going to deport me. You're not going to get deported if you have an immigrant visa. That's why we want you to get the immigrant visa. You have so much negotiating power. But also, to the point where Ferdy raised and Anna raised, one of our viewers is Sir Ferdy, professionalism is still key. We're not here to make you fight with your agencies, because there are bad players, but there are also many good players that we work with. And with me, the people I work with, where I bring my NCLEX students, I know their CEOs directly. That if something were to happen, I always tell this to my students. Some of my students are live with us right now watching because I have a class with them after this. And I tell them, if you have issues with your agencies that give you scholarship, let me know. Because guess what? I can directly contact the directors and CEOs because I'm working with them closely. That gives me the advantage to negotiate for my students' behalf. Because for me, my students are not just my students. I am also their mentors when they get here to the US. So I want to make sure that the path is cleared for them. But also make sure that you are working with the good crops and not the bad crops. We're not trying to make you fight with your agencies. We're just telling you how to be smart, but also be professional and cordial all the time. Professionalism go a long way. Even if you were offered and you think that's not the offer that you like, say in a very succinct short email. It doesn't have to be long to explain. It's because somebody offered me. No, you just say, I'm moving on from this offer. Thank you very much. I appreciate the experience. Do not burn bridges, especially in the industry, because you
Yep.
don't know, the world
It's a
is
small
round.
world.
Yeah, it's a small world. You're gonna encounter this person again.
Mhm.
So being cordial and professional is it goes a long way. That's why there is one or two agencies that cannot work with me because they were not professional with me in the past. We're gonna talk. We're not
Another
gonna
topic.
drop that.
Another
We're not
topic.
gonna. We're not gonna drop that bomb tonight. Here today. Anyway, we the next part of the show is I'm gonna talk about I don't know what I'm gonna talk evaluating job offers and contracts. That's the
I
next
love
part of
that.
the show. And I honestly wrote notes, but most of these are covered by Anna already. And I'm a very spontaneous person. So while Anna was talking, I'm changing my notes and I was able to
Sorry.
create short note. No, that's good because you already shared it, which means less time for me to talk because I'm still I still have pharyngitis. But when evaluating contracts, I'm going to leave you guys with four letters C, standing for contract. Four letter C's, and these are very important. The first letter C, and I just did this about 10 minutes ago while Anna was talking, because like I said, I had to change my notes. All right. The first letter C is comprehend, which means read, and not only read, because comprehension means understanding, and understand your contract carefully. All right. I always make like a joke where you have to know where the periods are, but that's just me being funny. The point in that is this is the time that you need to be OC. Like you need to be obsessively and compulsively checking all the details of the contract. Who is the job employer? How much are they paying you? Do you have benefits? Do you have PTOs or paid time offs or sick leaves? Do you get retirement funds? Is your employer the agency or the hospital? What type of visa are they going to give to you? Read all the terms in the contracts and job offers. You have to remember, in my past shows last year, I talked to one of the immigrant lawyers, my friend Nick Urkel. We've emphasized there that most of these contracts are favoring the employer. But you have to remember that contracts are always two parts, right?
Mhm.
The employer and the employee. The contract should not be biased towards one, right? If you do the contract, it's going to be biased on you. If the employer does the contract, of course it will be biased for them because it's also a business. But a fair contract is something that's equal, that's both protecting you, but also you have to understand the business is business, right? It's also protecting them. That's why there are guarantees, right? You have to be able to be comfortable with all these terms. That's why we said, did you read your contract? When someone tells us, they told me that I need to do 6,000 hours, which is 3 years. And the first thing we always ask when we get this message is it in your contract? And they're like, I don't know. Well, we also don't know if that's in the contract, because if it's in the contract and you signed it, meaning at that time we assume, the court will also assume that you read it and you were comfortable with it. So make sure that in the contract, when you're evaluating your contract, every term in the contract you are comfortable with. So what if I don't understand a legal lingo in one of parts of the contract? Then ask questions. I'd like to clarify section 2, part 4, paragraph letter A. It says here that I can be terminated at this time. Does it mean blah, 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 blah? All right. If you can't do this, then it's time to hire an immigrant lawyer, right? Or a contract lawyer. But comprehend, read carefully, know the terms of the contracts in its entirety, all right? Because there are legal lingos there, and some wordings can be changed and tweaked to make the statement vague. So when they take you to court, they will win. So be careful with that as well. Make sure that the contract offers some level of protection for you. It's detailed. Everything is in writing. That's the first letter C that I will give to you guys, is comprehend. The second letter C when evaluating a job contract is compare. All right. This is where you do your due diligence. You research, you ask questions, you go to Facebook groups, you ask nurses that work in those cities, in those hospitals. You check the Google reviews. What are they saying about this hospital? You check the hospital website page. What does it say? What are the services in this hospital? What type of facility is this? What level of trauma is this? You check the population in the community. Each hospital has their own culture, right? Because of the community. Is this a rural community? Is this a suburban community? Is this predominantly white? Is this predominantly Black people? Is this predominantly Hispanic? Is it a diverse community? Are we 5 miles away from the nearest schools or pharmacy or grocery? Am I 30 miles away from the next grocery? So always compare. It's always so easy now to do or to check if the salary that you're getting is adequate for your city or state that you're going into. I still get this message where the salary that was offered for me is 37.77 in this blah 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 town, in this blah 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 city, in this blah 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 state. Guys, the US is so big. It's bigger than Europe. It's bigger than many countries. It's a whole, almost a size of a continent with 50 different states. And Texas alone has so many cities, I think 900 cities. There is no way for us to know if that's adequate. But Google is your best friend, right? Google is your best friend. The first thing I say is go to Google and type your city and state and check what's the pay average for salary for, or pay average for nurses in that state, right? Or in that city. You can also check Indeed and Glassdoor and LinkedIn. They have all these information. But compare, all right? And number 3 that I want to share to everybody is, after you did your comprehension or reading, after you did your compare, is consult. All right. Ask other nurses what were their experiences about this agency, about this recruitment facility, about this hospital. Ask immigrant lawyers, contract lawyers. Is this contract favoring me or favoring the agency? Is this contract offering a little protection for me? Is it in my best interest as a nurse, or is it in the best interest of the agency only? Is it too favorable for the agency because it says here I am tied in the contract for 5 years, and if the hospital fires me, I need to pay back the agency all those 5 years worth of salary because they want to make money for me? You have to be comfortable with that. You have to know this lingos or legal language, just like in nursing, right? We say to our patients when we do our patient education, we want to educate our patients in the manner that they understand. But this is not the thing in legal world. They will give you legal documents, but they would not bother to explain to you. They would give that due diligence and responsibility to you to read that and understand that. So if you could not do that, guys, invest in getting a good lawyer. I know it's an expense, but your life depends on this. All right. Your career in the US, moving with all your stuff with you and your family to a new country altogether to work and to live in there is a lot of commitment. This is not the part where you want to mess up, where you want to make a mistake, because mistakes can be costly physically, psychologically. It can affect your family, it can affect your future career. Some people already have been depressed and went back to their countries because they just couldn't thrive. They were abused and trafficked and all that. I don't want you guys to have this mistake. Ask a lawyer, invest. Is it too much money? It is a money that you're investing for your future. And the worst that can happen is the contract is way too against you. You can walk out. But I think of it as, at least I dodged a bullet, which means at least I'm not going to be working for their company because it's not a contract that I'm comfortable with. All right. Number 4, cut a deal. This is very important. After you consulted a lawyer, after you asked people and compare, after you read your contract entirely, this is now the time to negotiate. Guys, remember, all contracts and job offers in the US is negotiable. All right. There is a dire shortage of nurses here, supply and demand. All right. There's more demand for nurses than the supply. So, guys, in the balance of things, the power to negotiate is not with the recruiter. I'm sorry to my recruiter friends, but this is the truth. It's an economy rule, right? The negotiating power is in the nurses. In the last 6 years that I was here in the US, and I've worked many jobs as a travel nurse, as a full-time nurse, as a part-time nurse in certain hospitals, and now in my NP job, I had always had the pleasure to negotiate, and I had always gotten the money that I wanted, the salary, the amount of money. And it's not all about money. I know that Paul is so focused on the money, but guys, it's the money that puts food in your plate, right? And you're coming to the US to earn that money. At the end of the day, you want to be working for something that you value, and the company values you as well. So because of that shortage with nurses, the negotiating power is tilted towards the nurses. All right. Negotiate. Whatever is written in the contract is not a done deal until you sign that contract. All right. Do not sign until you're comfortable, all right, with everything in the contract. Ask them, hold on, why am I getting $40? In the other state, in another agency, they're offering me 43. Can we at least match that? Let me tell you this. If they really want you so badly and your experience backs you up, they would match that. Because what is another $3 versus looking for another nurse and waiting for another 4 weeks? Which, remember, recruitment is expensive. All right. So the negotiating power is tilted towards the nurses. This is the truth. Anna knows this. This is the truth. Kay knows this. I know this. That's why we have so much negotiating power. All right. But also be cordial and professional. Don't be rude. Oh my God, are you trying to be cheap with me? Can you please raise it by another $50? Guys, be professional. All right. Because remember, the way you negotiate always reflects on your ability. And they would think of you as, is that the nurse that I want to hire? So think about that. And community is tight if you do something bad, it might spread out to the community as well, and other agencies or recruiters might not be able to give you an offer because they don't want to have a problem with the hospital as well. But those are the four things. Always negotiate. Use your negotiating power. Use your negotiating skills. What do I do if I don't have a negotiating skill? Remember, the step 3 is to hire a lawyer, right? Well, that's the power of the lawyer. They can negotiate for you. They're educated for that. They're experts on that. Let them send that email for you. All right. My client wants to negotiate her contract. Can we increase her rate? Can we make sure that she's in a safe community? Can we negotiate for a house for the first 30 or 60 days that will house her family with at least 2 bedrooms? All right. Can we negotiate for a car or rental car for 2 months? A rental car per month is $600. I'm going to tell you right now, if you put that in your contract, your agency will give it to you. You know why? Because they'd rather pay the $600 than not have you, and and still have an open spot where they don't have a nurse. So please negotiate. There are so many options right now, so many agencies. Please don't settle for one. At least this is what I say, just like with buying a house, right? Just like with anything, when I bought my first car, when I bought my first phone, when I bought my first house, right? Always have at least 3 options. At least 3 options. That's the minimum. Some nurses can juggle through 10 options. I could not do that. For me, my maximum option is 4. More than that, I get very confused. But at least have 3 options. You know why? Because you have plan A, falls through, plan B, falls through, you still have plan C. Alrighty. So that's it. That's what I want to share today. And let's bring back Anna and Kay.
Paul, let me add about during our time we were very limited, right? We have no direct hire. We only have staffing agency. So during those times, it was retrogression, just a reminder. So we have no choice. We have no options. In my experience, I was abandoned twice. So I was the one who really running after this company to hire me. But now nurses, we have a lot of options. You have direct hire, you have staffing agency. So do not be desperate. Sorry for the term. Like a lot of people, a lot of nurses sending me messages, Mom, I just really want to get out of the Philippines and work in the US and earn dollars. It's fine with me to earn this X amount of money. After the contract, I can get the money that I want. Yes, but please come to think of it. Your contract will either make you or break your first few years in the US. So please educate yourself and negotiate. But go to make sure that before you can negotiate, you have something to offer too. One nurse like, Mom, I am fighting with my agency with the contract. I want to negotiate it. So I asked her, what can you also offer in a table? Do you have experiences? Do you have a leverage? No, ma'am. So make sure before you offer and ask for negotiation, make sure that you have something that you can offer to them. Yes, not just experience. I want this X amount of money. Oh my God, please be realistic, okay?
Right, they're not gonna pay a new nurse. They're not gonna pay a new nurse a huge amount of money because you don't have experience. They're still gonna train you. So that's the thing. Yes, the negotiating power is with you, but also what can you offer? You always value it with what can you offer. So if I tell them I've been a nurse for 16 years and this is my breadth of experience, so please pay me this much. Let me tell you this, they will pay you that much because they always value experience here in the US. All right. And look at Jordan, what Jordan said here. I'm going to flesh it. It says that's a thing about negotiating. From 47, I was able to pull it up to 54. And guys, 54 for nurses coming here to the US. I'd say what you guys think. That's good money for new nurses coming to the US. This is not California money, right?
When they arrive here. $40.
I was 31 something, including differentials, because my main rate is like $26. But at that time it was okay because the gas was like $1, the bread was like $2 for the whole loaf. I think 54 right now is pretty good money to start with. I'm just not sure if what city or state that is, but I think you are at because the Medscape report for nursing average salary just came out and it's 88,000 this year. So 54 puts you at around 110,000 a year. I think you're doing good.
Yeah,
That's good.
I gotta
Jordan,
add. I
good
said
job.
I actually computed already, right? So I
Yeah.
said, oh, so that is
I
equivalent to $43,000
of
that he
In
did
3
that
difference
because
years.
he was very
from
assertive. He was
Wow.
assertive in saying that, and because he has experience, so I'm
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
assuming he has experience to bring
Yeah.
that at Jordan. Nope. So that assertiveness actually gave him money for down payment for a house.
Yep.
That can be in
Mm-hmm.
Philippine peso,
Right.
$1 million, just
Right.
because you were assertive
Negotiated. Right.
and
And
negotiated. Yeah,
and
so
what
those few
many
dollars
yep.
is actually millions
Yeah.
in
And
Mm-hmm.
what
in
many
Philippines.
people don't what many
Yeah.
people don't know is Kay's our live walking calculator.
Yep.
She's
Yep.
pretty good. I thought I was good with
Ma.
computing because I can do the computing in my head because of running business for years. But I've never seen someone compute it much faster than me than Kay. But see the numbers. If you put it in perspective with what Kay said, the nurse is already winning at this point.
Mm-hmm.
43,000 in 3 years because of
Negotiation.
negotiation.
Yeah, you don't have to work for overtime.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Because
okay.
pretty good. Yep.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And you can see there's a lot of people who are actually underselling themselves
Yes.
because
So
they say,
sad.
Miss K, we're nurses. We are shy to ask. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when you ask, you feel like it's disrespectful. Let me
Mm-hmm.
clarify, you guys. Asking professionally is not disrespectful, especially when it comes to your salary. Okay. And then you always have to think, if you are shy, just keep it this way. Think of the loved one think of the number one person that you love the most that will
Right.
probably benefit from this. Okay. It can be your child, it can be your mom, right? So if you
I'm
if
laughing.
you don't have the courage to say it, think of these people who you love
Right.
and
I'm
then
laughing
try
because
to.
yeah. Look at what Jordan said. I think it's because of his experience. He said I have more experience in sales than in nursing.
Yeah.
So that's what got me the rate, which is good.
And
It
it's
it
good.
comes
That's
handy.
good. Yeah. That's
It
good.
comes handy.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so we are in the 1 hour mark, so I'm gonna do a quick browse on the red flags. Okay, red flags in this contracts and job offers. As nurses, we always study about what are the signs and symptoms of the patient if they're going to bad shape. Are they going to crash? So in contracts or accepting your job offer, it's not being negative. It's the same thing as being nurse. You're preparing for crisis if it ever happens. You didn't want to go it worse, so you want to look at those contracts like a signs and symptoms of a bad contract or a horrible contract. One factor there is deceptive recruitment. Okay, so what is deceptive recruitment? Deception means that they're trying to tell you some other things, but it's not really the thing that they're going to give you when you get here in the United States. So we have a lot of cases about that. So what do they deceive? Number one, location. These people will tell you we don't, that if you ask them, where am I going to be working? And they're going to say, you're going to be working in any of the states. I'm going to tell you right now, and I have worked with more than 40 companies. Not a single company will have the jobs in all the hospitals. Okay. And they will just say, oh, we have jobs all over the US. Okay. So they can say that, but the question is, are they the one who really have the contract with those hospitals? Because sometimes they will tell you we have jobs all over the US, but when you get here, they're just gonna sell you to another company who will also be another staffing company or recruitment firm. And now you will be, you'll be wondering, how come when I arrive in the US, I'm working with a different company, right? I'm working with a different staffing company. It's weird because in the Philippines or from the origin of my country, I thought I was going to be employed by this person. But then when I arrived here, they changed the contract and they said, I will not work anymore here and I will work there. And it's going to be a new contract. So there are things that happen like that. So I'm going to pause it there. When you feel like there's something change in your contract, please do not be desperate in taking it. Before you sign anything or agree to anything, take a pause and ask, okay? Because a lot of people come here and then their contracts being changed, their jobs being changed, their employer being changed. First thing you want to do is consult a labor lawyer, a contract lawyer, because it might only cost you about $150 to $300 when you get here, but the damage it will have, it can cost you thousands, like Jordan mentioned, right? It was like a $7 difference, but it can cost you thousands of dollars many years. You might be spending $300 to consult a lawyer to check your these changes, if it's valid or not. If you agree to that recruiter who's changing you, you might also lose thousands of dollars. Okay, so again, you ask, or you can message us in the fora or message any of us, and we can guide you and we can refer you to lawyers if you don't know any lawyer. But again, any change in the job location, employer, and your contract, or any part of that contract that's being changed, and the change is really huge of a difference, so you might want to ask first. Okay, don't sign. They're gonna say, oh, it's the same people. Well, no. If it changed the name of the employer, then that is a change of contract, which can be a possible breach of your employer. Okay, so again, any change of the contract that is on it impacts the contract really big, then it can be a sign that it might be a breach on your employer side. So you might want to consult a lawyer first before you sign anything. Okay. So deception and recruitment, there is a thing also about the location. So a lot of recruiters will say you will be working only in this county or in this location. So you, as a person who's trying to research, you try to look for housing around the area. But then it also said in your contract, there is a possibility that you can be moved anywhere in the United States. So you guys have to be very careful with that, especially when you have a family, because when you got here in the United States, the apartment leases or rent, it's locked in usually in 1 year. So let's say your training orientation in 3 months, and then your employer said, we're going to transfer you to a different state. But you already rented an apartment that you have a contract for the whole year. What will happen to that? So it's very important that you will have to talk with your employer that what are the chances that I will be moved within the year. They will say, oh, there's no chances of that. But in reality, a lot of people come here are being told that their jobs in that location is not anymore available after these nurses have signed rent contracts in the United States. So if I were you, I would negotiate, like Paul said and Anna said, negotiate your contract. If you have a family, that you will be given enough time to finish your rent in that area or give you a job in that location, because renting and moving around your family is very hard, especially when the kids are in school. So when you have a family, please be very careful in signing contracts that says you can be transferred anywhere in the United States or anytime, because a lot of family are struggling right now, and they don't even have money to pay those rent if they breach the rent too. Because majority of the rent, they will say you will have to put your deposit, and the deposit can be $2,000, and then you also have to put 1 month deposit. So it can be also $4,000. Do you have money to throw for a $4,000? if you have money to throw, like thousands of dollars, like at least $5,000, then don't worry about being moved. But I'm saying for those people who will not have money to pay those breach of contract in their apartment, you might really want to consider thinking about signing those contracts that says you can be transferred anywhere, anytime, and you're bringing your family with you. Okay, so if you're single, you might be able to live in a smaller room or rent a smaller place, and it's going to be less damaging financially. But if you're with family, there is just no way to go around it except to breach your rent contract. Okay, and will cost you thousands. Not only like 1,000, it can cost you 4,000. Every move here in the United States, it might cost you around $3,000 to $5,000. Okay, just had heads up there. What are the other deception that we have? The housing conditions. When I arrived here in the United States, I was told I was going to be given a housing as soon as I arrived. That did not happen. Okay. I had to wait and stay with my relatives because the housing was not available. So those are the things that you will have to consider asking. And make sure when you ask, please do not ask about things that are this specific important things verbally. You want to ask the person who is from United States recruiting you, okay? Because no offense, but I have seen Filipino or other international recruiters based on those countries that they will say one thing, and then when the nurses get here in the United States, the employers will say, we never say that, we never promised that. But then verbally it was promised by a recruiter outside the United States, and they have no accountability. Okay, if they say that, well, you're in the United States anymore, so what are you going to do with them? They promise you wrong, right? But in the United States, there is a thing called marketing fraud or fraudulent recruitment. So what is marketing fraud? It is literally like lying just to make you sign. Fraud, lie, the same. They're faking information. So you want to get those information, and you want to make sure when you ask those important information, you have it always written down. You can ask those in the email. Okay, email them, email those recruiters that are US based, and have all the documentation to make sure that there is a transparency. If they don't want to talk on the phone, which is a lot of people don't want to talk on the phone. I mean, sorry, a lot of people don't want to do email. A lot of them wants to talk on the phone and no email. I would recommend you, if recording is legal in that state, you can ask permission. Ask permission, I'd like to record this conversation. Okay. Or you can write notes, and after that conversation, create a summary of the meeting as an email. Okay, and that can be your documentation. So again, let's say Mr. So and so, the recruiter of this, interviewed me, and he promised me that I will be given housing as soon as I arrive, and I will be starting job within a month. After I get my social security. Okay. And all of this were verbal. And also they will say, oh, we're going to give you $2,000 when you get to the United States as a reimbursement. And you can see it. I mean, sorry, but don't see it in the contract with the employer. What you want to do is make sure after that meeting and conversation, go to your computer, create an email, and then you send back that email to that person that you talk. Say, thank you very much for this conversation and this opportunity to discuss things with you. And as a confirmation, these are the things that you will promise me. Okay, so then you were creating a documentation for transparency. Any person who is doing the right thing and the good thing will have no problem with that. The only people who will have problem with you creating those email for confirmation are the people who will have or who have the intention to fool you. Okay, so please create a summary of the meeting and then send it to them as an email for confirmation. They don't need to reply if or they don't need to explain anything. They will just say, correct, those are incorrect, those information are correct. So just to verify. Okay, so again, what are the problems here? Job location, they're not going to tell you where you are. It's like technically putting a blindfold on you. Okay, the location or the job place, what is the nature of that job place? Is it nursing homes? Is it a home care? Is it a home visit? So two different things. Home care and visiting nurse are two different things. Okay, visiting nurse, you will have to drive back and forth to many different facilities. I mean, many different patients in a day. Home care can be one patient in one day. So you have to be very careful on those things, because a lot of people, they'll not discuss that. But they'll not discuss it because they don't want you to know that there are costs associated with that. Home care is very different than visiting nurse. Visiting nurse, you go from one patient to another, to another, to another. You can have 8 patients in one day. but a home care sometimes is just one. If you're a visiting nurse going from one place to another, from patient one and your drive to patient eight, all of those should be paid. Again, a lot of nurses come here and they're being hired as visiting nurses in the United States. They're only being paid when they show up to the patient, and then they're not being paid from their travel from one patient to another. In the law, I'm not a labor lawyer, but you can look it up. Again, FLSA, Fair Labor Standard Act, talk to the Department of Labor. You have to be paid every, on those times that you are traveling to your next patient. So again, that's why it's very important to understand what will be the job looking like. If I'm getting a home care, where will I be traveling? Because gas is expensive in the United States right now. The gas is like what, five dollars per gallon. So what does that mean? If you are a person earning $30 an hour and you have to drive 1 hour away, expect to throw 2 hours of your salary. Okay. 2 hours of your salary will go to gas. 2 hours of your salary might go to toll if there's a toll. 2 hours of your drive of your salary might even be your maintenance cost will be higher. Okay. And mileage, exactly. Thank you very much, Ross. So there are so many, and here in the United States, the driving is very fast. People drive here 80 miles per hour. If you're in kilometers per hour, you're talking about more than 100 kilometers per hour. What are the chances you're gonna get into an accident when you get here, when you're traveling around? A lot. And I have heard a lot of new nurses that got here and they have no health insurance yet and they get into an accident. One visit to the ER will cost you $20,000 to $30,000. Just a heads up, okay? All right, now going back. So that's the first part, right? So conditions of the work, you have to really ask. Be very specific, especially when you have kids. Please, because this is your livelihood. You don't want to be screwing up your first job in the United States, and you need to be strong for your family. Your family is also transitioning to the United States. They miss their family back home, and if they see you suffering too, they're going to be suffering as well. Might as well
Right.
you pick up a very good job, and they see that my family is doing this for the love of our family. Okay. Next is coercive recruitment. Coercive recruitment is where there is violence on the recruits. I have heard stories about these nurses being forced to sign contracts. Can't do that. Okay. One of the other things, they're gonna tell you that you have to sign the contract within 24 hours. Oh, please. I have declined jobs or job offer for 4 times and they still came back. And even though they said they gave me expiration date, then after expiration date, that job's still available. Again, if that job is very good, coming to the United States is an investment. All investments should be thought really hard. Okay. Again, all investments should be thought hard. If coming to the United States and it's an investment for you, all of those exams that you paid are all investments, then you need to take a pause. If they say you have to sign this within 24 hours, forget about that. It's not going to happen. Okay. And I'm going to promise you that job is still available. If you are not ready to sign it, just please email your recruiters and be professional and courteous. Tell them, I'm not ready to sign this. I will need to review it. Please give me about 5 days to respond. Okay? And if they are saying, oh, we really need it back, okay, thank you very much. I will not be able to move forward with this with that time frame. Okay? So again, you cannot be forced, you cannot be coerced, and a lot of people into predatory practice are the ones who are giving you contracts to sign within 24 hours. If somebody's telling you have to sign this right now in front of me, please don't sign it. Okay, because that is a very big red flag there that somebody is trying to trap you. It's called trap. Okay, trap. And then you don't understand those legal jargons. And then inside those contracts will say that you're waiving your rights as a US as a resident of United States. You're waiving your jury and all your basic human rights or your basic labor rights. It's there. majority of those contracts that I've seen that were forced to sign within 24 hours, it will tell you you have kind of like you have no right to sue us. Okay, you will not sue them, or you will waive your rights to jury and trial. Those are the example, those are the red flags of it, because these are basic labor and fair contracts that, if there is something wrong with your contract or employment, you should have the ability to consult legal, legal professionals. But there are contracts that will tell you you cannot. So please be careful and make sure you invest on labor lawyers who can review your contract with you. Okay. There is also confiscation of your documents. If they say, "Oh, we're gonna hold your green card, we're gonna hold your social security," that's a red flag already. By the way, green card, passport, you don't even own that. The government owns that. So the only legal person who can have your green card and your social security and your passport is actually you or the government. The government
That's
can also
right.
revoke that. Only the
Mhm.
government, not recruiters. Okay.
Right, right,
Um,
right.
so please, if you hear those messages that we're holding your green card, please do raise that as a red flag. Call for help, and you can report them actually to the government, because again, it's not your property, it's the government's property that the government is only giving it to you. Okay, but it's not permanent, they can revoke it too. Debt bondage, what is debt bondage? So the company is giving you so many perks that actually, if you go to the termination clause, it will tell you liquidated damages, including the training, the recruitment, the future profit losses, all of those. I'm going to tell you, future profit losses can be $100,000. If you see those words, breach, you breach your contract or termination, it will cost you your future profits losses of the company. Please do not sign those. Those can mean you are going to pay more than $100,000. And there's actually a lawsuit on that. The US Department of Labor called a company in New York, and they are saying that it's illegal. Okay, illegal. So please pay attention to those contracts. If you are too lazy to find that word, go to that PDF file. Control F will land you there already. Again, Control F, put in there termination, breach, arbitration, what else? Waive. Those are the keywords that you can look in your PDF file and type Control F. So please pay attention. Do not sign right away. Debt bondages is making, putting you in so much debt that it can cost you more than 100,000 if you quit. So those are called debt bondage, and those are actually in the human trafficking. Okay, those are actually in the human trafficking modules of USCIS. When you receive your green card or you go to USCIS, there is a portion there called USCIS labor trafficking. Please go through that, okay? Because a lot of people did not know that. They thought that trafficking is only for prostitutes or sex slaves, right? But actually, there are a lot of cases right now that nurses are falling on the labor trafficking situation. Thank you, Ross, for putting it there. Trafficking Victims Protection Act, TVPA. So if you are going through those kind of situation, I'd recommend you going and seeing a human trafficking lawyer or human trafficking organization here in the United States. Okay, abuse. The next one is abuse of vulnerability. A lot of you guys don't know the language of in the US, the legal jargons. I don't even know a lot of them too, because again, nursing is different from these things, right? This is really civil things, and we are mostly on science, right? More science. It's normal not to understand it. Don't feel bad that you don't understand. Just make sure that you go over those things that I mentioned, because you are very vulnerable. You don't know about legal system in the United States. You don't know your labor rights. You don't know your basic human rights in the US. The labor laws in outside the US is very different, especially in the Philippines, where indentured servitude is allowed. But in the US, it's not allowed. There are laws, stricter rules on labor in the US. Um, Now we go to the exploitation part. If you don't know where you're going, most likely that place is somewhere, a place that there might be actually exploitation that's happening. So please be careful if you are going to a staffing company who's going to throw you everywhere. um, I want you to really pay attention on your exit plan. Okay, exit plan, what you mean is look at your termination clause. Okay, what if this place has been putting me to 80 hours a week? And we have a lot of that. We have also nurses that were working home cares, home care, that this patient was very assaultive, and they have been begging their recruitment company to please transfer them, because they're coming home with bruises already. The patient is combative. Um, Now the recruiter said, you have to terminate your contract and you have to pay $200,000 for breaching your contract. Right? So please pay attention. If you don't know where you're going, know your exit plan. Don't be desperate. Don't be frustrated that you just want to get out of the United States. When you get out of the United States, you are going to be running away from Philippine debt. When you come to the United States, it's going to be dollar debt. Okay, dollar. Last one is the coercion as destination. A lot of people has been changing their contract before immigration interview. Please do not sign those contracts. If by any chance your recruiter, your employer is breaching your contract or changing your contract just anytime before the interview in embassy, or before your departure or upon arrival, trust me, you'll be fine. You're going to be fine, because if the company or employer breaches the contract just before you arrive in the United States or upon arrival and they breach the contract, guess who's going to get you? A lot. There will be a lot of employers who's going to take you. And you have to think about this. If you guys are shopping in Amazon, right? If you're gonna wait for a package that's gonna arrive for 3 weeks, that's cheaper. But if you want something tomorrow, Amazon next day delivery, you're gonna pay more, right? Which means it's the better deal for the seller. So again, if you are a nurse who's coming to the United States for in 2 years, it means they have to wait. So waiting means that the employer can get you cheaper. But if the employer is going to wait shorter, the employer can get you on a higher price because you're the nurse next day delivery for them. You will be able to find a job right away after that employer breach your contract. Okay, so sorry, it's over the time, but I hope you guys are paying attention to do not be desperate. Always ask if something goes outside the norm.
Wow,
Are you
this
still
show is
there?
so loaded. Yes. We put our mics on mute to, of
I
course,
know, yeah, we're
to
mute.
prevent interference. And I agree with so many parts, so I have to put myself on mute because it will distract you. But this is so loaded and we have great retention of viewers. We didn't go down below
Yep.
200 since an hour ago. But yep, those red flags are very important, guys. Remember that signing a contract is just the first part of it's just the tip of the iceberg. All right. As soon as you land here in the US, it's another story. All right. You going through your contract for the duration of your contract is another story. So there can be many good things that can happen, but there can also be bad things that can happen. So please be on your
Nightmare.
guard. Yep. Please protect you. And like I said in our past shows, people are saying, why are you spreading negativity? We are not spreading negativity. We're talking about these things because, yes, it's the minority, but these things actually happen, right? These things are real stories that we're gathering from our intelligence, from our intelligence team, which is actually us, and people approaching us in our social media telling these things. This is not a drill. These are happening here in the US. And if nobody wants to talk about it, well, guess what? Me, Kay, and Anna are going to wake up every Sunday morning and grab our
Morning.
coffee. And guess what? We're going to talk about it. We're going to
Yep.
put it out there because these are important things that we guys want you to know. I was not personally a victim of human trafficking and coercion and abuse
Mhm.
from employers. I am blessed to have really great employers that took care of me and made sure that I was able to adapt to the community well. I was lucky to have coworkers that are adaptive to immigrant nurse like me, and they embraced me as one of their own. And I felt like I was more part of the pack than an outsider because they welcomed me. I was lucky of that. But there are people, since I've been involved with Lefora, I never knew that I was going to be advocating for nurses at this level where we're doing show online. But there are many people that approached me over the years, and I feel terrible for these nurses. I couldn't get my sleep knowing that there's a nurse out there that's struggling, that's
Mhm.
caught in a contract that they don't want. It's so terrible to work for a
Mhm.
place that's abusing you mentally and physically. So please don't subject yourselves to that. And we're putting out these stories, this show, because these are actually happening to our immigrant nurses. And after all, this is the DNP Unlocked. We're unbridled, we're unlocked, we're not gonna
We're
hold
disruptive.
we're gonna disrupt the norm and say we need to talk about these things. If this has to get to the national and federal level where we can bring in lawyers and senators and congressmen or even the president, I don't care, but we have to talk about these things. This is what Kay and myself and Anna has been doing for a bit now. So that's it. We're gonna wake up every Sunday morning to talk about these things, guys.
Yeah,
Okay.
I put in the comment a link, a
Mhm.
link where there are signs and symptoms, says and LADA, So those are the links, and also put the Philippines labor. Philippines have the strictest. Actually, Philippines is the only one that has rules, actually not rules, but laws on labor trafficking. They have to follow. That's why Office of Migrant Worker is there. So Office of Migrant Worker also release um laws on, or like their cardinal sins for illegal recruitment or bad practices of recruitment. So please pay attention to those. Yeah, we have a lot of nurses who arrive here. I personally was exploited by a nursing home, and when I
Right,
arrived
right.
here, they will give me orientation and training. Upon arrival, I only got half day orientation. The other half I was doing
My
CPR by
goodness.
myself already. I'm
Oh my
like,
god.
Hey,
oh,
Paul.
And most of the abuse are happening in the nursing home. So please, if
Yep.
you have the option to
no.
go to work in a hospital, just work in a hospital. There's more protections. And
Um,
yep.
we have one question here. Last question. At will, can you say something about it?
Oh,
At will,
I'll speak. Yeah, at
go ahead.
will in Texas we're at will, so which means they can terminate you anytime. It's
Mhm.
good and bad. I'll let Kay talk about it.
Yep.
So,
Go,
well, at
Kay.
will contract is different states will have their own meaning of
Mhm.
at will. So
Mm-hmm.
please pay attention when you are going to be sent to those states. Get the state name and then go to research it. What is at will in that state? So there's an at
Mm-hmm.
will that some places, like say Florida. Florida is at will without I believe no exclusion, which means
Same in Texas.
they can
At
just
will.
tell you you're fired today
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
called at will
without
without
even explaining.
at will with, I think it's called at will without mutual agreement, which means
Yeah.
if they say we're done with your contract today, we're done. You can also at will them and say I'm done with you.
Yeah, exactly. So that goes
That's
in
the
both
truth. It
ways.
goes two ways. Yes, it's
Yeah.
without mutual agreement. There's an at will, I think, with mutual agreement
Yeah.
for a 30-day lock
Yeah.
in, something like that. But yep,
Also in New York, we're also at will, you know.
I think most
Yeah,
of the
at
states
will.
because
It
of
it's
It's a
only
blessing
the
and a
employer.
curse.
it's a blessing and a curse, but the blessing part is there's another hospital down the road.
Yep,
So
waiting for you.
Yeah, but there is also an at will, but it dep- that the but if there is a contract that's available, the contract will be followed. So this is something that you will
Mm,
need to discuss with a lawyer and explain to you in layman's term. What is it? Because we have a nurse that in a state with at will, right? She can be fired without explanation, but there's also in her contract, it was very vague that they put their termination that she has to pay. So the question for me was, if the termination was caused by your employer,
yeah,
you were doing
that's
your
their
job as
breach.
a good nurse, you were following everything. Why would I pay for that? Because I'll give you one
Mhm.
exact scenario. One one staffing agency was staffing this hospital. And then the hospital realized that the nurses were not paid properly by that vendor. What did the
Right.
hospital do? The
They fired the
hospital
vendor.
fired all the nurses under that staffing company. And
And
then
they
the
hired
agency
them back.
said, well, if you want to go, you can pay us $40,000. But the nurses said it wasn't our fault. You guys were
Right.
the one who screwed up your relationship with that hospital. And then they were only given, oh, but you will be, if you want to stay with us, we're gonna send you to Arizona. And the nurse said, all my family and my kids are here. We are renting. Our lease. We just renewed our lease for the apartment.
Right. Right. Right.
So what are we gonna do, right?
Yep.
So again, if you see those termination clauses, there is a wording there that will say if the termination was due to the employer's breach, then you should not be responsible for those termination
Right.
clauses. So again, if the fault is at the employer, there are good employers or good vendors, good staffing companies will tell you if it's their fault, you don't have to be responsible for any liquidated damages. But if
Right.
it's
Right.
your fault, yes, you will have to. So please pay attention to those wordings.
Put those wordings in writing. And I think the confusing part here is because nurses are actually dealing with, especially if they're director, with two entities: the
Mm-hmm.
recruiter, which is their own company, and the hospital. So even if the hospital, like for me, right? I have a contract with my recruiter, and it says 3 years, breach is 12,000. It was so cheap before, and there's no inflation now. It's 150,000. I heard. I'm not gonna drop the bomb of which agency is this, but somebody's asking for 150,000 breach. My goodness. But guys, 12,000, 3 years, and then when I got here, I signed a job offer from the hospital again. It's the same job offer, but they just want me to sign and date it for that day that I came, right? Um, and it says at will. So I told her, oh, it says at will, but you said we have a contract. And well, she's a Filipina, and she just told me, well, if they fire you for no reason, then our contract is done because they already paid me. She didn't ask me for money. It was not in the contract to say that if the hospital fires me, that I'm gonna have to pay her back. It just says there that we're contract for 3 years, which means I stay in the employer. But if the employer says I'm at will, then I'm at will. So that's it. There's two things. So what you want to do is verify that because it's mostly the agencies that will pursue you. The hospitals were not, because they're scared of ramifications. Imagine if you sue them and they have a $30 million liability insurance, your lawyer will get after that pot of money. Hospitals are afraid of lawsuits at all levels. If you even tell them, I'm going to call the labor office, let me tell you this, they're going to put you on a meeting and say, it's okay, we're just going to let you go, and we're not going to terminate you anymore, we're going to give you suspension, something like that. They're scared of liabilities because they have an insurance, and the lawyers are going to get that amount of money. I think what you need to be careful about is the agency that recruited
Yep.
you. Are they good agencies? Are they just after your money? Are they
Yes,
gonna
they
sue
are
you
always
because,
after the money. I don't think that's a
of
question
course,
anymore. Yes, they are after the money, period.
of course,
I'm not going to
uh,
sugarcoat it.
right, 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 right. But are they gonna sue you because you didn't complete your contract, and they're not gonna? Because for every year that you stay, they probably get a retention amount of money, and that's not what they're gonna get if you leave. So something like that, something to think about. So you need to know both ends because you got to protect yourself as well. Okay.
Yep. The most common complaints here in the United States are the excessive liquidated damages. Okay, like I
Right.
said,
Yeah.
pay
That's
attention.
very
One company that I've
unethical.
seen actually put in their contract literally 2,500 per month. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
again, 2,500 per month. If you're gonna calculate that in a 3 year perspective, you're talking about $90,000. Do you actually believe that the company spent $90,000 for you guys?
For you.
The
Yep.
answer
No.
is no. I can give you a breakdown on how much companies spend,
Yep.
and it's not even $30,000.
Yep.
Okay.
Probably 10, 15 grand, but not that much. That's crazy.
Yep.
Okay, I am totally against those companies who are putting excessive. When I say excessive, a $30,000 can be also excessive if the company own, if the company did not pay for anything. Like, they didn't do training. When you arrive here, you found your housing by yourself. You book your flight for your family. So again, a $30,000, it can be also excessive for a company who did not assist you in the Philippines at all. When you arrive in the US, did not assist you anything at all, because the immigration fees are only like 2,500. The lawyer's fees can be 5,000. But there is no way a $30,000 should be liquidated damage if you paid for almost everything, right? So we have a
Right,
lawsuit
right.
there where a staff recruitment company was trying to chase on the nurse for $30,000, $40,000. And then when the nurse said, I paid for all my airfare, I paid for my accommodation
Right.
when I did,
Right.
I paid for this premium processing. They did
Some
not
of
pay
them
for
even
my
some
NCLEX.
some of them paid for everything, including immigrant lawyer, and paid to work in the hospital. And then when the hospital fired them, the agency still asked them for money. Like that's called triple dipping. You get money from the nurse, you get money from the agency, and you're getting a breach fee. I think we
Yeah.
need to call the Senate for this to investigate
Okay.
and put a stop in this.
I
Yeah,
have
so
to call
there
your
it is.
attention, Paul and Nurse Kay. Save goals, reserve goals for next week's topic.
Next week,
Right, right, right,
I know it's a very hot
right, right.
topic. Thank you everyone for
Mm-hmm.
sticking along, but this is very
Yep, yep.
important topic.
Yep,
Okay?
yep.
Right. And don't worry, for those who are asking, our topic actually next week is going to be a continuation. We're going to differentiate. Let's flash that poster for
Yep.
next week. The topic for next week's show is going to be direct versus staffing agencies. That's it. I don't think we see right now. But it's going to be a direct versus staffing agencies. We don't have the poster, but we're going to show it later after the show. But please join us next week. Thank you, Kay. Thank you, Anna. Thank you for all of the information that you've shared today.
Mm-hmm.
And final words for our viewers. We went over time. It's 1 hour 47.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
it went over, but you guys gonna be very, it's gonna be worth it after you miss those bad apples. It's gonna
Yeah.
be worth it.
Well,
Okay.
my last reminder will be you can create the life that you want by learning. Like we always say here, knowledge is power. And during our time, we're gonna have this social media. Like we go whatever the company will tell us if we wanna go to the US. But right now, you have all the opportunity to learn from Nurse K, as a traveler hacker, and got our Nurse All. We have DNP, we have Lefora. Please take your time, make time. Take notes so you will not be a victim of fraudulent contract or the company because it will make or break you. And always pray and ask for guidance from God and from those people who have experienced it like us. And at the end of the day, it's your choice to be miserable and be productive or be blessed if you are in a hurry and in a rush to sign the contract and accept the job offers. Take notes. Okay, you can never go wrong with this. Take notes, learn,
I want to get
and
Anna's notebook. We can
yes.
publish that in Amazon.
And thank you, Nurse A and Dr. Nurse O. What a beautiful
Yeah.
Sunday every week with you. Thank you
Yeah.
so
And
much.
watch out. We may be publishing our book soon. They don't know yet, but
Ebook? Are we gonna have an ebook?
Yeah, so
yeah.
I put in the chat too. I'm not no, I'm not endorsing anything, but I'm giving you resources in here.
Mm-hmm.
Philippine Nurse Association of America actually published a guide on how to look for your contracts, what to watch,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very good resource. I want you to guys. It's free. I was able to talk to the author of that if I can share it publicly, and they said yes, you can. So I put it there in the chat. Thank you for the authors of the Philippine Nurse Association. It's called Handbook for Filipino Nurses. The first part is going to be about Filipinos, but actually the majority can be applied globally by any global nurse coming to the United States. So you can use that. It's free for your use. Okay. Thank you so much,
Sounds good. Thank
and advocate for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you. And soon we're going to release the podcast version of the show. We are in episode 5. So Watch out for that announcement. Thank you so much. Next week, direct versus staffing agencies. And that's going to be Sunday, 8 a.m. Central Time, 9 a.m. Eastern Time, 6 a.m. Pacific Time. And you can convert it to whatever part of you are in the world. Thank you so much to every nurses joining us from all over the world. This is DNP Unlocked, Disruptive Nurse Perspectives, an immigrant talk show. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye. Have a nice week.
Have a nice week.